I want to start with a question to the audience and to myself or to all of us. The question is, where is Turkish insurance market situated? Is it in Europe or is it in Middle East, Central Asia? Because in most of the reports published by international reinsurers, we see ourselves under the heading of Europe. But when you see the characteristics and the history of the market, I see ourselves more in Mecca, Middle East, Central Asia. For my argument, I want to share with you some statistics prepared by Swiss Re. No offense for my friend from Munich Re, but I was able to find the Swiss Re documents. This is Europe, and you see that Europe has around $1,000 billion premium volume, end of 2013. On the other hand, when we check the Middle East, Central Asia, it has 40, actually the real figure is 47 billion US dollar premium. Now, especially when you consider the geographical area that we are situated, we are just in the middle of these two group of companies and countries. And second, we should consider the insurance history in our country. In Turkey, the first insurance company is established in 1925. This was Anadolu Sigorta, the first company set up right after the war. And before that time, we had several foreign insurance companies' representative offices, but during the war, they have left the country without any knowledge accumulation and no experience, nothing. So everything has started after the war and together with this first insurance company. So our market is a 90 years old market with several achievements, whereas if you check in Europe, in England, the first insurance activities has started in late 1600s. So I think there is almost 300 years difference. Besides that, our premium volume is $11,232 million. So we can say that Turkish market represents almost 1/4 of the Middle East, Central Asia, but when it is compared to Europe, the difference is huge. So considering the history, the social characteristics, the geographical characteristics, I'm more inclined to see ourselves a part of Middle East and Central Asia. And final statistic, maybe you cannot see it, but I can read it for you. The Europe has a premium volume in year 2013, 1,500, almost 1,600 billion US dollar, whereas the Africa has 72 billion US dollar, and as I told you, Middle East, Central Asia has 47 billion dollar. So even Africa will be a better place to put ourselves than somewhere in Europe. And also cultural-wise, religion-wise, and with also compared to the historical background, I personally think that our country should be considered between Middle East and Central Asia. Now coming back to the key figures about Turkish market, as I told you, we have 11,130 million euro premium volume end of 2014. We have 61 insurance companies, 1 reinsurance company. And out of these 61 insurance companies, 39 is non-life, 4 is life, and 18 is pension. For your information, all these figures are for the active ones. So if you check the figures, you might see more number for insurance companies, but most of them are not active, or they are just issuing very, very limited policies from their own group companies. The insurance, and also I'm more inclined to share our figures in Turkish lira terms, because in the constant change of this US dollar currency, each year, even if we make some increase in our local system, always there is a decrease, because this US dollar change is really giving a damage to our figures. Last year, end of 2014, The increase in life business was minus, unfortunately, minus 10 or 11%. And in non-life, it was 1%. And in total, we made a decrease of minus 1%. So last year was not a very good year for the general Turkish market, but in profitability, life had a 17% profit and non-life had 7% profit. This is profit after tax. Now, after some key figures of Turkish market, I want to give you a better understanding of how the market works. And year 2000 is an interesting year because after that time, we had faced several changes in all the activities, regulations, and approach to insurance in the whole market. Before year 2000, we didn't have any actuarial studies for non-life. We didn't have any segmentation, no calculation. We just had fixed tariffs. We didn't have any triangles reserve analysis. There were only compulsory tariff for MTPL by the government. So this was also making life of the companies very difficult because they could not arrange themselves in line with the results of their own portfolio. And especially claims auditing was not an issue before year 2000. I mean, here the systematical claims auditing based on a data system. And also the subcontractors who are, you can consider any subcontractor, the computer companies, loss adjusters, auditing companies, some service providers for even household or big repair shops were not there, and they were not having good service followed up by the companies. After year 2000, this list is a limited list. I just put here the most important steps, but we can also put more details. First of all, the segmentation studies have started, and the tariffs of the insurance companies are done more properly in line with the outcome of each segment and in line with the merit of their portfolio. The reserve analysis with triangles have started, so the IBNR calculations and the stability of insurance companies were more under the focus of the Treasury. The non-life actuarial departments have started to be set up, and now it's compulsory. So after year 2000, we have started to see such departments. Today, it is a compulsory department in all insurance companies directly reporting to the Board of Management. There was the free tariff period for MTPL and for terrorism, so that people, the insurance company managers, they were left free to do their own job properly. Or if they don't do it properly, they will be seeing the results of their actions. We have started to set up claims auditing departments, and this become also compulsory, which is also reporting to the Board of Directors. Okay. And we had motor logistics departments because Turkish market is a motor-driven market. There are lots of motor portfolio, almost 60% of the general market. So the concentration on that was an important issue. We had fraudulent claims committees. We set up the TCIP, Turkish Catastrophe Insurance Pool for the earthquake risk. We set up an insurance information center and started to monitor all the claims from health to even to agriculture. And there were new subcontractors, claims handling companies, glass repair companies, fraud detection companies. And there was new projects with international actuarial companies, and the Treasury have increased their audits, and they have equipped themselves with experienced staff who can go through the figures of the insurance companies and who can understand if there is any lack or any misinformation. The final part is the possibilities of either inward or outward communication. We have one reinsurance company, which is called Milli Re. This is a regional reinsurer, which is a well-known reinsurer company, established in 29. This is also right after the war, our independence war. Milli Re is internationally active since year 2006. They have a branch in Singapore with a volume of Turkish lira volume of 958 million. And they had an increase of 3.5% last year. Of this premium, 25% is coming from their international accounts. They have set up their international department in 2006. So in 10 years, almost less than 10 years, in 8 years, they were able to generate 25% of their income internationally. They have a paid-up capital of 660 million Turkish lira with a shareholders' equity of 753 million lira. And the total assets are reaching almost $2 billion, of which 60% is liquid asset. So Milli Re can be always seen a potential reinsurer for Russian market and Russian insurers. Besides that, in our country, we have regionally active broker companies. We own one of them, but there are other friends as well who are active in all lines of business with direct contact to all the regional reinsurers from Africa to Far East to Central Asia, Middle East, and North Africa. And of course, we are not bound with sanctions, so we are free, especially if we are willing to place any risk to any company in our region who is not owned by a European group. And we have this direct contact, as I told you, with the regional groups. If you consider the other way around, for the Russian reinsurers, Turkish market, it's an interesting market. It is seen as an indispensable market for international reinsurers. We have high premium volume, we have a rapid economic growth, and geographically distributed risks, because Turkey is a large land. And for your information, in coming 5 years' time, Turkey will be the highest buyer of earthquake catastrophe protection in Europe due to the Turkish catastrophe insurance pool. We have educated, qualified, and experienced professionals, and who can understand your needs and who can serve you, and vice versa, who can understand the services that you provide. And we have a broad range of product diversity. The only problem, everything so far seems positive. The only problem in my idea and in the region is the rating issue. I know that it has been discussed in the morning session. So I think we should consider the good parts of our companies, and we should fight with this rating issue, because our country cannot have A rating as Turkey. So even if the companies in the country have better ratings, they cannot be rated as A. I know that this is very similar for many friends in this room as well. So I think this is one of the big obstacles that we should overcome by supporting each other and trying to understand the value of our efforts. Thank you very much.